Good day everyone. In this report, we're going to talk about one of the most prominent personalities in psychology. 'Di ba kapag naririnig natin or ako lang ba, kapag naririnig ko yung term na behaviorism, yung first ko na naiisip is si B.F. Skinner. Although yung mga pinakaunang pioneers ng behaviorism are Edward Lee Thorndike and John B. Watson, yung pinaka most associated with the term behaviorism is B.F. Skinner or Boros Frederick Skinner. Kasi yung study and experiment niya ang nag-dominate sa behaviorism, which is yung operant conditioning, yung reinforcement and punishment. So sinabi niya din na dapat daw yung human personality is pinag-aaralan hindi lang sa internal factors. Dapat din daw na pinag-aaralan nito by observable behaviors. Kaya tinawag niya itong radical behaviorism. So first, let us get to know B.F. Skinner. So he was born on March 20, 1904 in Susquehanna, Pennsylvania. So siya ang panganay na anak ni William Skinner and Grace Mange Boros Skinner. So yung father niya is isang lawyer and politician. Kaya may imagine nyo na yung life niya is beyond comfortable kasi politician ng father niya. So as a child, Skinner's interest was deeply inclined towards music and literature. So kahit bata pa lang siya, gustong-gusto niya nang maging professional writer. Which is, yes, na-achieve niya yung goal of becoming a writer nang nasulat niya sa mid-1940s yung novel niya na Walden 2. So, I also indicated some events sa buhay ni Skinner bukod sa family background niya. So, he completed his PhD in psychology in 1931, although his bachelor's degree was not really related with psychology or with the practice of psychology. Tinanggap pa rin siya ng Harvard as a graduate student. Not certain kung bakit, pero yeah, he got accepted, so we'll continue. So, nagkaroon siya ng dalawang malaking projects, which is the Pigeon-guided missile and the Baby Thunderbolt. So, Skinner's Project Pigeon was a clever attempt to condition pigeons to make appropriate pecks on keys that would maneuver an explosive missile into an enemy target. So, after a lot of efforts that Skinner put on the Project Pigeon, is pinutulan lang siya ng financial support ng government kasi they find it hilarious na i-condition ang pigeons para atakihin yung mga specific na tao. So, shortly after Skinner abandoned Project Pigeon, is nagkaroon siya ng isa pang project, which is called the Baby Tender. Yung Baby Tender was essentially an enclosed crib with a large window and a continual supply of fresh, warm air. The Baby Thunderbolt was also a failed project of Skinner. So, he died on August 18, 1990 because of leukemia. So, next is the precursors of Skinner's scientific behaviorism, which is yung kasama niyang mga behaviorists. That's what it means. So, yung kasama niyang mga behaviorists was Edward Lee Thorndike and John B. Watson. Thorndike, he observed that learning takes place mostly because of the effects that follows a response, and he called this observation of the law effect. So, according to Thorndike's study, the rewards or satisfiers strengthens the connection between a stimulus and a response, while yung punishment naman or yung annoyers do not usually weaken this connection. Meaning, punishing a behavior merely inhibits that behavior. It does not stamp it out. Which means na yung punishment daw is parang dinidiscourage siya na mag-reoccur yung isang behavior. Hindi niya yun winawala or hindi niya ini-encourage na wawala. So, next precursor is John B. Watson. So, Watson had studied both animals and humans and became convinced that the concept of consciousness and introspection must play no role in the scientific study of human behavior. So, the primary argument of John B. Watson is sinabi niya na human behavior, like the behavior of animals and machines, can be studied objectively. So, next we have Skinner's scientific behaviorism. So, he insisted that human behavior should be studied scientifically and that psychology must avoid internal mental factors and focus or confine itself to observable physical events, which contradicts the purpose of the psychodynamic theories. Yung psychodynamic theories of Adler, Jung, and Freud solely focuses on internal mental factors like drives, yung provinces of the mind, levels of psyche, yung levels of mental life. Those psychodynamic theories focuses on internal mental factors. So next, we have conditioning. In 1953, Skinner recognized two kinds of conditioning, the classical and operant conditioning. With classical conditioning, which Skinner called respondent conditioning, a response is being drawn out of an organism by a specific identifiable stimulus. While yung operant conditioning naman, also called the Skinnerian conditioning, a behavior is made more likely to recur or mauulit when it's immediately reinforced, whether it's a negative or a positive reinforcement. So it says here that one major distinction or difference between classical and operant conditioning is that in classical conditioning, behavior is being elicited from the organism, whereas in the operant conditioning, behavior is being emitted. So an elicited response is drawn from an organism, while yung emitted response naman is parang simply appears, it naturally appears. So next, we have the classical conditioning. So in classical conditioning, a neutral or conditioned stimulus is paired with an unconditioned stimulus a number of times until it is capable of bringing about a previously unconditioned response, now called the conditioned response. Pinaka-prominent or sikat na experiments ever conducted was yung Pavlov's dog experiment, and then yung kay Rosalie Rayner and John B. Watson, yung kay Little Albert. Next, we have the operant conditioning. So Skinner believed that most human behaviors are learned through operant conditioning. So yung reason kung bakit operant conditioning ang tawag dito sa type ng conditioning na to is dahil yung organism operates on the environment to produce a specific effect. Yung pinaka-important factor ng operant conditioning is yung reinforcement. Hindi siya yung nagkukos ng behavior, pero ini-increase niya yung likelihood na maulit yung behavior because of reinforcement. And we have two types of reinforcement, the positive and the negative reinforcement. We'll discuss it later. So, next we have shaping. Shaping refers to a procedure in which the experimenter or the environment first rewards gross approximations of the behavior, then closer approximations, and finally the desired behavior itself. In shaping, parang binibreakdown ng experimenter yung mga task into smaller manageable tasks para ma-achieve yung desired behavior o yung pinaka-goal na ma-achieve ng experimenter. So, yung best example ng shaping is when a parent is trying to train a severely mentally challenged boy or child to dress himself. Yung utmost goal dito or yung desired behavior is yung madamitan yung sarili niya na siya lang. So, yung gagawin ng parent is i-breakdown niya yung task into smaller manageable task, tapos i-reinforce niya ito with rewards. So, i-reinforce niya ito whether through negative or positive reinforcement. Kasi hindi naman nagmamatter yon kung positive or negative yung reinforcement kasi they both increases the likelihood of a behavior to reoccur. So, yung gagawin ng parent is every time na masusuot ng bata nang siya lang yung parts ng damit niya, is i-reinforce niya ito with candy or with a reward. So, like halimbawa, pag nasuot niya yung right sleeve ng damit niya, is i-reinforce siya ng mom niya with candy. And then, yung right sleeve, reinforce na naman with candy. Tapos yung socks, reinforce. Yung shorts, reinforce every time na na-achieve niya yung smaller task na yun is i-reinforce niya para tumaas yung likelihood na ma-achieve nila yung desired behavior at magkaroon ng higher possibility na ulitin ito ng bata kasi nga iisipin niya na mayroon siyang reward every time na nagagawa niya yun. So, sa example natin, in all instances of operant conditioning, yung 3 conditions ng ABC model of psychology are present. So, A refers to the antecedent, B refers to the behavior, and C for the consequence. So, A refers to the environment or setting in which the behavior takes place. Dito sa example natin, yung environment would be the home or any other place sa bahay nila kung saan nagsusuot ng damit yung bata. While yung behavior naman is yung pagdadamit ng bata sa sarili niya. While yung consequence naman ng pagdadamit niya sa sarili niya is yung candy. So next we have reinforcement. So reinforcement refers to consequences that increases the likelihood of an organism's future behavior. Which means na pinapataas niya yung likelihood na mauulit ang isang behavior kasi nare-reinforce ito. So we have 2 types of reinforcement, the positive and the negative reinforcement. So yung positive reinforcement is any positive consequence na add siya sa situation is tataas yung likelihood na yung behavior ng tao while doing that thing, while being reinforced with a positive reinforcer is mauulit-ulit. Like halimbawa, gumawa ka ng maganda or naging consistent ka sa paggawa ng house chores for a week tapos bibigyan ka ng allowance ng parents mo. So that is a positive reinforcement. Kasi money counts as a positive reinforcer, aka a reward. The negative reinforcement naman is kinukuha or binabawas yung unpleasant stimulus sa isang situation para tumaas yung likelihood na ulitin pa yun ng isang tao kasi every time na gagawin niya yung ganong behavior, nawawala yung mga unpleasant feelings na nafe-feel niya. Like, for example, taking painkillers kapag nagkakaroon ka ng headache. So, every time na iinom ka ng painkillers is nawawala yung headache mo. Therefore, nababawasan or nawawala yung negative stimulus. Kaya, next time na sasakit ang ulo mo, iinom ka ng painkillers para mawala yung sakit ng ulo mo. So, yung nabawas na negative stimulus or unpleasant stimulus doon is yung headache. So, that is what we call the negative reinforcement. Yung difference nila, yung positive reinforcement is magdadagdag ka ng positive reinforcer sa isang situation para tumaas yung likelihood na maulit yung behavior na yon. While sa negative reinforcement naman is magbabawas ka ng negative or unpleasant stimulus para tumaas yung likelihood na ulitin ulit yung behavior na yon. So next we have the punishment. Yung punishment, whether positive or negative punishment, pareho lang sila ng effect. Dinidecrease nila yung likelihood na maulit yung behavior or dinidecrease nila yung reoccurrence ng isang behavior. So sabi dito, negative reinforcement is hindi daw dapat siya napagkakamalang punishment. Kasi yung negative reinforcement, nagbabawas ka ng something unpleasant sa situation para uulit-ulitin mo yung ganong behavior. Yung punishment is dinidecrease niya yung behavior or sinastop niya yung behavior na mangyari ulit kasi napunish na yung tao dahil sa ganong behavior. So, meron tayong dalawang types ng punishment, the positive and the negative punishment. Yung positive punishment, siya yung type ng punishment na nag-a-add ka ng isang unpleasant stimulus sa isang certain situation. Like, halimbawa, scolding a child for misbehaving. Yung unpleasant stimulus natin dito is yung scolding. Yung pag-scold mo sa bata is naglalasan ng likelihood na maulit yung pag-misbehave niya kasi napunish na siya. While sa negative reinforcement naman is magre-remove ka ng isang pleasant stimulus sa isang situation. Like halimbawa, yung bata is naglalaro or nag-misbehave siya while playing his toys. Tatanggalin mo yung toys which is yung pleasant stimulus dahil sa misbehavior niya. So, both types of punishment, whether positive or negative, decreases a likelihood that that certain behavior will reoccur or mauulit yung ganong behavior kasi na-punish yung bata sa ginagawa niya. So, next is the effects of punishment. So, first, we have the suppressed or mali. So, next, we have the effects of punishment. So, first, we have the suppression of a certain behavior. So, kagaya ng example natin kanina, 'di ba, yung bata is normal lang sa kanila maging makulit. So, for example, na-punish siya dahil sa pagiging makulit niya, isusuppress niya yung pagiging makulit niya, which is essence ng pagiging bata niya, kasi na-punish siya ng certain person dahil sa ganong behavior. So, next, we have the conditioning of a negative feeling. Kagaya sa example natin kanina, normal na maging makulit ang mga bata. So, kapag na-punish yung bata sa pagiging makulit niya, mafe-feel bad siya every time na nagiging makulit siya. So, yun, na-condition siya na sasama ang loob niya or magigilty siya every time na pinapalabas niya yung natural na instinct or natural na behavior ng isang bata. So, next, we have the conditioned and the generalized reinforcers. Conditioned reinforcers refers to those environmental stimuli that are not by nature satisfying but become so because they are associated with such unlearned or primary reinforcers. Like, for example, food, water, sex, and physical comfort. Hindi sila by nature satisfying, pero nalalearn natin na maging satisfying sila kasi parang basic physiological needs natin sila. Next, we have the generalized reinforcers. So, it is a stimulus that becomes reinforcing because it has been paired with multiple other reinforcers. So, Skinner recognized 5 important generalized reinforcers that sustain much of human behavior. So, first, the attention, followed by approval, and then affection, and then submission of others, and then the tokens or money. So next, we have the schedules of reinforcement. So we have 2 types of schedules of reinforcement, the continuous schedule and the intermittent schedule. Sa continuous schedule, yung organism is nare-reinforce for every response. Yung continuous schedule, it increases the frequency of a response but an inefficient use of the reinforcer. So, second type of schedules of reinforcement is the intermittent schedule. So, they make more efficient use of the reinforcers and produces responses that are more resistant to extinction. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya basta-basta mawawala. Or, siya yung pinaka-efficient na type ng schedule ng reinforcement, yung hindi siya basta-basta mawawala or hindi siya basta-basta may extinct. So, the intermittent schedule is based either on the behavior of the organism or on the elapsed time. They either can be at a fixed rate or can be according to randomized program. So, meron tayong types ng intermittent schedule. So, the first subtype of the intermittent schedule is the fixed ratio or the fixed ratio schedule. So, dito sa schedule na to, the organism is being reinforced intermittently according to the number of responses it makes. Like halimbawa, pangatlo siya nagkaroon ng response, pangatlong beses din siya i-reinforce. So, next, we have the variable ratio. So, dito naman sa variable ratio, the organism is being reinforced after every nth response on the average. So next, we have the fixed interval schedule. So dito sa fixed interval schedule, the organism is reinforced for the first response following a designated period of time. Like for example, yung F1 indicates the organism is being rewarded for its first response after 5 minutes interval. So dito, meron siyang fixed interval. So next, we have the variable interval schedule. Ito yung type na schedule in which the organism is reinforced after the lapse random or varied periods of time. So like for example, 5 means that the organism is reinforced following random length intervals, average 5 minutes. So next, we have extinction. So once learned, some responses or behavior can be lost for at least 4 reasons. So first, they can simply be forgotten during a long period of time. Second, they can be lost due to the interference of preceding or subsequent learning. Ibig sabihin, sobrang marami nang natutunan ng isang tao, nakakalimutan niya na yung mga past behaviors or responses na natutunan niya. So third, they can disappear due to punishment. Yun yung sinabi ko kanina, nagde-decrease siya ng behavior. So, in rare cases is mawawala sila due to that specific punishment. So, the fourth reason or the cause of loss of learning is extinction. So, extinction is defined as the tendency of a previously acquired response to become progressively weakened upon non-reinforcement, which is yung binabaliktad ng experimenter yung ginawa nila sa pag-reinforcement or pag-reinforce, babaliktarin nila yon para man-learn ng isang tao yung behavior na natutunan nila. So next, we have the term the operant extinction. Yung operant extinction takes place when an experimenter systematically withholds reinforcement of a previously learned response until the probability of that response diminishes to 0. So the rate of operant extinction depends largely on the schedule of reinforcement under which learning is occurs. So yun lang everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something or probably wala. So anyways, thank you for watching. Bye-bye!